In today's video, I will be showing you how to make this hexagon star pattern crochet motif. This pattern comes from the Weldon's Practical Needlework. It was a series of pamphlets that was put out with various forms of needlework techniques, and this was published just before the turn of the 20th century. The six-pointed star is called a hexagram. There are many historical, religious, and cultural meanings tied to this symbol. From the Western and Near East perspectives, this symbol, more times than not, signifies that place or moment where God and man connect. For some, this symbolizes resurrection or may be used for protection. Then there are those who find the symbol useful in terms of trapping or containing spirits. While in the East and Far East, this symbol best represents harmony and balance, material creation versus creative energy, or divine masculine and divine feminine, basically a kind of duality between opposites but potentially harmonious forces. Regardless your perspective, the six-pointed star speaks to most people on a much deeper level and is valued for its beautiful aesthetics. The example of this hexagon star pattern was made with Aunt Lydia's size 10 crochet thread. You can purchase this in just about any craft store that you come across. And it can come in a multitude of colors. They have a lot of colors in this particular brand. And so this piece I made with several different colors just to give you an idea on how well it works with color transitions. Now this piece right here, it might be a little harder to see the details because I did make it in an all black thread. And this thread is also a size 10 crochet thread, but this one comes from Loops and Threads. Both these threads are 100% cotton. And with this one, while it's a little more difficult to actually see the details, it's subtle, and that gives it just a touch of elegance. It's very nice and it's very pretty. Now with these two pieces that were made with the number 10 thread, I simply used a size number 2 steel crochet hook, a 1.5 millimeter. And for this piece right here, this is the example I will be showing you how to make today. And the yarn I used on here is the Truboo 100% rayon, made from bamboo, so it's a semi-synthetic. It's a size 3, and this particular color is their light pink. So you can see. And then for this one, I used a size 5 hook, or 3 millimeters. For American sizing, you're looking at somewhere between a C and a D. So really it's just going to come down to which size you're most comfortable working with the yarn that you choose to use. You can pretty much use any size yarn you want with this pattern. Well, it's a hexagonal shape, and so it lends itself to all sorts of different possibilities. Welcome to Weaving Weird Studio and my creative weird life. My name is Sig, and what a pleasure it is to have you with me at this time today. It's your interest and support that allows me to contribute new content and weekly videos. Help us all grow together by tapping that subscribe bar, notification bell, and like buttons. I look forward to your comments and always value your feedback. Now let's get started. So to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my slip stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Next, I'm going to join. I'm going to make this into a ring. One, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to double crochet 27 double crochets into the ring. And once I've double crocheted my 27 double crochets, I'm going to go ahead and join, and basically into the second chain of this 3 chain stitch. And this gives me 28 stitches for round 1. Now for round 2, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in the same stitch, I'm going to do a 5 double crochet popcorn stitch. This vintage book calls them tufts. So from here on in, I will call, instead of calling it a popcorn stitch, I will call it a tuft. And you'll know that when I say tuft, it's going to be 5 double crochet popcorn stitch. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I'll show you right now what that is. So we're going to work that in the same stitch. So basically what I want to do is I want to go ahead and double crochet 5 double crochets in the same stitch. 3, 4, and 5. Just like so. And then what I want to do is I want to remove my hook, and then I want to come back here to the first of the double crochets, beginning, starting that 5 double crochet popcorn stitch. So that'll be right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick up the loop that I had just dropped, and then I'm going to pull that loop through, and that creates my popcorn stitch, or what we'll be referring to it from here on in is as a tuft. And then next I'm going to want to chain 1. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to double crochet once, like that. And then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to do a tuft in the next stitch. So it's my first double crochet once, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remove my hook, come back here to the first of the 5 double crochets and pick up the loop I just dropped, tighten it up, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then in the next stitch I'm going to do a double crochet. So I'm going to continue to follow just this same pattern all the way around, and when I've completed my complete round, I'm going to join again, and I will be left with a count of 14 tufts for round 2. So again, a chain and then my next tuft. And then my chain, and then I'm going to go ahead and join right here into the third chain of this first chain 4 stitch. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to actually slip stitch into the stitch that sits right behind the tuft. For you, it may be 1, it may be 2, it really kind of depends on where you end up and the yarn you're working with, right? So there's no hard and fast rule for that particular count, just until you can get to behind the very first tuft. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And then in that very same stitch, I am going to make a double crochet. Next, I'm going to make a chain, And then in this double crochet between each tuft from the second round, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to make a tuft in that stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And chain 1. And then I'm going to come over here and into this next stitch, the stitch right here behind the tuft, my next tuft. I am going to double crochet 2 double crochets into that same stitch. And I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to make a tuft into the next double crochet from the from the second round. Chain 1, and then 2 double crochets into the stitch right behind the next tuft. And then chain 1. I'm going to continue to do that all the way around for round 3. And in that round, I will also end up with a count of 14 tufts. And then my last tuft. And then my chain, and then I'm going to join right here into the second chain of this 3 chain stitch. And this is what you should have so far. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the beginning of round 4. Next, I'm going to make a double crochet right there into that same stitch. Next, I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and then I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch after that. I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and then I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch after that. And then again, chain 2, skip 2, and then double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, and double crochet in the stitch after that. Now once I've got 4 loops or holes, whatever you might want to call them, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to double crochet right there into the same stitch as my last double crochet. So you can see I've got a corner here and a corner here, and then I've got 4 eyelets in between. I'm going to continue that. I'm going to give myself 4 eyelets, which is basically going to be the chain 2, skip 2, and then double crochet. And then I'm going to do my next corner, which is going to be a chain 2 and then a double crochet into the same stitch as the previous double crochet to that. So each one of these is a corner, and we're going to have a total of 6 corners all together when we've completed our entire round. And then when I make my way back around, I'm going to go ahead and join into that 3rd stitch of the 5 chain stitch. So you should have something that looks like this. And I've got my 6 corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, just in case that's a little difficult to see. And then for round 5, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain 2. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to single crochet, a single crochet for each stitch, but back loop only. So do 1, and 2, and 3, and then 4, and then 5. So this is a back loop only. Even when you're going over these 2 chain spaces, only single crochet in the back loop of that chain in between the double crochet stitches. And you just do that all the way around, and when you make your way all the way around, you're going to join. And then you should have 90 stitches when you've completed round 5. And then of course there again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to join. So for round 6, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch all the way to the single crochet that sits right in the center of our corner V. Right? So in my case, and in most of your cases, you're going to find that's just going to be 2 slip stitches. So then I'm going to begin by chaining 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what this is going to be is the first 3 chains are going to be my first double crochet, and then 2 chains additional. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double crochet in that very same stitch. And that gets my corner again started. So now once I've gotten my first corner for round 6 completed, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to begin my first tuft. And then next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double crochet 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to make my next tuft. And then again, I'm going to double crochet 3, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to make my third tuft for this side. and then 3 more double crochets. And then I'm going to make my next tuft. And that brings me back to my next corner, where I'll begin my next corner. So that's going to be, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make that double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to double crochet again right back into that same corner. So this is the first side, and I'll have 6 of those sides. All right. And my second corner. So again, I'm going to repeat exactly what I did for the first side for my second side. So my next stitch is going to be a tuft. And then I'm going to double crochet 3 times. And then again, another tuft in that next stitch. And then as before, double crochet 3 times. And then again, my next tuft. And then double crochet 3 times. So now I'm going to make my last tuft for this side, my 4th tuft. And then that brings me back to the stitches for my next corner, which is going to be a double crochet plus chain 2 plus double crochet in the same stitch, and that'll give me my 3rd corner. I'm going to continue to work it just like that until I've completed round 6. Now when you've completed round 6, you're going to join right here into the 3rd chain of this 5 chain stitch. That's the stand-in for the first double crochet plus chain 2. Now some of these old vintage patterns get a little tricky when it comes to count. So sometimes their count isn't as precise as we would like it to be. Oftentimes they just assume that you're already very familiar with crocheting. So they would give these generalized directions and let you kind of figure it out or fiddle through it until you kind of got the right setup. So this particular piece really isn't that much difference. Even though I tried very hard to alter any counts that I thought needed to maybe be counted a little differently, or try to make any slight modifications to the pattern, since I am converting this pattern from UK directions and terminology over to US directions and terminology. So just pay attention to the idea that between each corner, you want to have 4 tufts separated by 3 double crochets. And if you have to finagle that around a stitch or two that you have maybe more or less of, then absolutely go ahead. Otherwise, if let's say you missed a stitch way back here somewhere and you're kind of falling, you realized that things aren't quite as perfect a count as you would expect them to be, you can do a couple of things. You can pull out your work all the way back to where you think you might have missed that stitch or added an extra stitch. And particularly when you're working with the threads, this can be a little tricky to see for a lot of people. Or you can simply just add or increase or decrease a stitch somewhere in your work where it's not going to be seen at all. I mean, that's just a little tip, something to keep in mind, so you don't have a basic heart attack because you put so much work and so much focus in on a piece, and and it looks fine, and you don't want to have to go back, and it's not going to be like a mistake anyone else is ever going to know, and you yourself would even be hard pressed to find if you went back to it 2 weeks from now to see if you could figure out exactly where that missed stitch or that increased stitch was at. So that's just a little tip. I tell you this not because I'm trying to encourage anyone to be lazy, or I'm trying to encourage anyone to fudge the patterns. I mean, these things happen, right? And for the purists out there, I just want you to relax a little bit, and if things need to be absolutely perfect on your piece, absolutely go ahead and do that for yourself. I'm all about it. I do that myself quite often. But for everyone else who's just getting through their piece and they don't really know where they missed that 1 or 2 stitches, and the idea of having to pull out their work to try to figure out where that stitch is, where they may have made their mistake, or basically where the pattern from particularly a vintage piece just tells you, well, we want this many bobbles in this space, and there's no stitch count, there's no indication as to how many stitches should be there. They're just basically telling you to figure it out and line it up. So again, for those people who might be stressing out a little bit, don't stress out. You're okay. You're fine. For those people who are a lot harder on themselves, who really want their piece, particularly their lace pieces, to be perfect, and I completely get that. I'm that person. But I also know how frustrating it can be if you're not that anal about it. So basically what I'm saying is just relax and enjoy the process. This is supposed to be an enjoyable process, not something that, gives you ulcers at the end of the day. Okay, so now that we're moving on to our round 7, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch right here into this corner from round 6. And again, I'm going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to double crochet back in that corner one more time. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to double crochet 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. And now this takes me into that middle stitch right here, this double crochet. from round 6 that sits smack dab in the middle between the 2 tufts. And this is the stitch that I'm going to make my first tuft for round 7 in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. And then I'm going to double crochet 3 times again. So 1, 2, and 3. And again, that brings me into the center stitch of the 2 tufts right below it. And I'm going to place my next tuft right in there. And then we're going to do that one more time. So 3, or I'm going to double crochet 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And then that's going to bring me to my last tuft for this side, for the first side of round 7. And then I'm going to double crochet 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And then next, so this is going to bring me back to my next corner, and I'm going to start this process all over again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double crochet right here into the corner. And then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to double crochet again right into that corner. And then I'm going to double crochet 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then again, I'm going to find myself in the middle of these 2 tufts right here on top of this double crochet. And I'm going to make my tuft here, here, and here. And I'm going to continue that for each side. So you're going to have your corner, which is going to be your double crochet, chain 2, a double crochet. Then you're going to double crochet 3. You're going to make a tuft. You're going to double crochet 3, make a tuft, double crochet 3, make a tuft, and then double crochet 3. And then you're going to do your corner again, which is going to be your double crochet plus 2 chains plus a double crochet. And this corner will be this beginning of your next row, or side rather. And we're going to continue this pattern 5 more times around. And once you completed your last double crochet for round 7, go ahead and join into the 3rd chain of this 5 chain stitch. And then next for round 8, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch right into that corner. I'm going to go ahead and this time I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to double crochet again back into that corner. So this will be our first corner for round 8. Next, I'm going to double crochet 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Which again brings us back into the middle double crochet between the next 2 tufts. And then in that next stitch, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make another tuft. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to double crochet 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Again, bring me back to the stitch that sits between these next 2 tufts. And this is where I'm going to make my next tuft. And then I'm going to double crochet 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's the completion of the first side for round 8. And you can see how our star is really beginning to develop. So now here for the second corner, here on the second side of round 8, I'm going to double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to double crochet again in that same corner. And then again, I'm going to double crochet 6, make a tuft, double crochet 3, make a tuft, and then double crochet 6, which will complete my second side. And then I'll just repeat the whole process again from this corner, right? A double crochet plus a chain plus a double crochet, and then continue on as before. So, and then at the end of round 8, I'm going to go ahead and tie into that third chain of the 4 chain stitch there. And then I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch right into that corner. And I'm going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to double crochet in that same stitch, giving me the first corner of round 9. Next, I'm going to double crochet 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. In the next stitch, I'm going to place my tuft, and then I'm going to double crochet 9 more. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that brings us back to the second corner, and in that corner I'm going to place a double crochet plus a single chain plus a double crochet. And so that's the first side of round 9 completed. And I'm going to repeat this from corner to the 9th double crochet for each side. And I'll see you right back here in just another moment. Now at the end of round 9, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to join into that third chain of the 4 chain stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch right into that corner. Now this time I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to single crochet here in this same corner stitch. I'm then going to place one more single crochet into that corner hole. And then I'm going to single crochet 20 across. So 1, 2, 3, 19, and 20. And that brings us back to our next corner. Now in that corner, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to single crochet 2. And then I'm going to chain 2. And then I'm going to single crochet 2 more, all in that same corner. And then again, I'm going to single crochet 20 across to the next corner. And in the next corner, I'm going to place 2 single crochets plus 2 chains plus 2 single crochets. I'm going to continue that all the way around. So here at the end of round 10, you're going to place 1 more single crochet into that first corner. And then you're going to go ahead and slip stitch up to the hole, up to this chain 2 space, the first corner. And now for round 11, here in this first corner, I'm going to go ahead and chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to go ahead and double crochet in that same corner. And then the next thing I want is I'm going to go ahead and fit 12 tufts across the first side. So I'm going to begin by making my first tuft. 1, 2, and then I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch. And then the stitch after that, I'm going to make a tuft. And then continue alternating that until I have 12 tufts across my first side. So now when you've completed the first side of round 11, you should have something that looks like this, 12 tufts. And that brings us back to this corner where I'm again going to double crochet into that corner. I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to double crochet again right there into the same corner. So my corner should look like this. And then again, I'm going to alternate a tuft with a double crochet, tuft, double crochet, tuft, double crochet 12 times across. I'm going to do that for each side with a corner of a double crochet plus a chain 3 plus another double crochet. Now once you've completed your 12 tufts plus alternating double crochets along each of the 6 sides, I'm going to move on to round 12. And for this round, I'm going to go in and I'm going to join right there into that third stitch of the 6 chain. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to single crochet 5 in that corner. 4 and 5. I'm going to single crochet in each stitch along the edge until I hit the next corner. And then I'm going to single crochet 5 in that chain 3 corner. So basically that's what I'm going to do for round 12 is a single crochet in each of the stitches, and in each of the 3 chain corners you'll have 5 single crochets. And when I've completed round 12, I'm going to fasten off and block my work. If you've stuck with me this long watching my video, I want to really thank you. I spend a lot of time and effort making these things, and so I appreciate the effort you put forth watching it all the way through. But now is the time for me to say goodbye, and so until I see all you wonderful and creative fiber artists again, stay crafty, stay amazing, and above all, keep weaving your weird. Bye-bye now.